Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most humble pranams at Thai lotus feet of Mother Sai. I take the opportunity to commence the seventh Pran Sakha session with prayers invoking Bhagwan's divine blessings. साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्. And for Speaker of the Day, we have Mrs. Ranjini Narayan Swami from New Delhi. She was one of the former students of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Anantapur Campus. While studying in ATP, her maiden name was L. Ranjini Sharma. Sister did her BA degree in ATP campus from 1977 to 1982 and then completed her MA in English from Fergusson College, Pune University, as there was no post graduation then at ATP. Sister got married in Delhi and then did her B.Ed from Annamalai University. She worked as English teacher in St. Paul's School, New Delhi from 1990 to 2015. Sister Ranjini and her family were taken into the divine fold by the Divine Master himself in 1968 while she was 6 years old. Mrs. Ranjini have a single child, a daughter, who got married and is settled in Delhi. Sister Ranjini's mother was a Balavikas Guru and her father was an active member of the Samiti at Trivandrum before her marriage. Both of them merged at the divine lotus feet of Swami while living in Puttaparthi. While at ATP, she was the part of Bhajan group and is used to play Talam. She has been blessed by Bhagavan to sing and play Talam in the prayer hall. She was also part of ATP's band. Sister Ranjini was active participant in dance and various programs in ATP in Swami's physical presence. I now request our sister, Mrs. Ranjini Narayan Swami, to share her beautiful and miraculous experiences with us. Over to you, Ranjini sister. Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Humblest pranams at the lotus feet of our most beloved Swami. A very loving Sai Ram to each and every one of you here. Pran Sakha Bhagwan. Who else but Bhagwan? Who is the one and only constant Sakha to every pran on this earth, here and hereafter. When Sai Urana called me and said that I must share my experiences with Swami on this Pran Sakha series, it was Bhagwan's command to me. His unbounded love and mercies that he has showered upon us are so many that I wondered what all I could fit into this. Anyways, let me begin from the beginning. The beginning of how Swami brought us into his fold in 1968. My father, who was a central government employee, had a transferable job, obviously. So he got transferred to Agartala, Tripura. Now, for my family, that is, I'm talking of my father's family as well as my mother's family, who were basically from Bombay and some in Bangalore, and probably some in Chennai. Agartala was totally almost unknown. So, and that time, access to Agartala was not very easy in the sense that there were no roads, no rail. The only way was we go till Calcutta, and from there used to be these small planes that would take us to Agartala. So for my family, Agartala sounded like a god-forsaken place. So there was a lot of resistance in the family, especially my grandmother, my dad's mother, who was like, there's no way you will go to this place. So leave the job if necessary. We will look for something else. Don't go to these kind of places. My father was always a very spiritual person right from the beginning. So he said, Amma, wherever I go, God is with me. Doesn't make any difference. So somehow he managed to convince her, and I was then a girl of 5 years, five and a half. So finally, all of us reached Agartala. My father started off with his job and everything, and then gradually he started getting used to the place. He had a couple of South Indian, very few at that time. He managed to find some South Indians as friends. And my father was a person who was always interested in having, a cultural thing, satsang, these kind of things. So he was trying to find out if we could have a small association kind of a thing over there for the South Indians, the very limited South Indians that are there. So somebody told him that there is one IAS officer here by the name Mr. Shankar Narayan. So since he holds a high position in the government sector, why don't you go and talk to him? So my father went to him. It was there that the first time he saw Swami's photo, because he was a great Sai devotee. So my father went, expressed his desire. He was a very nice human being. So he told my father, he said, Sharmaji, my father's name was TSLV Sharma, so he was normally called Sharmaji by everybody. So he said, Sharmaji, I understand you're this thing, but this is a tribal area, and things are not like that the way we think. But since I understand that you like all these things, we have Sai bhajans every Thursday in my house. So you come over. Sometimes after the bhajan, we have small satsang and all also. Very limited people. So you come over, you will enjoy it. And he gave him his address and everything. So my father decided to go. He went the first Thursday, but he went alone. My mother was like, the typical, because we don't know who this Sathya Sai Baba, what, we don't know anything. So my mother said, I am not coming for all this Baba and all that stuff. You go if you want to go and attend. So my father went, attended the bhajans, and somehow right at the first go, my father got that connect, I think, with Swami. Anyway, he enjoyed the whole thing. Then came back. But that time, this Mr. Shankar Narayan, Mrs. Shankar, all of them, they said, why didn't you bring your family also? You had said you had a small daughter, bring her also. We all enjoy all these things, so they must also come, all these things. So my father came back, told my mother. My mother was not very okay with the whole thing, but then he said, see, all said and done, he is a very senior person in the government and all that, so we should respect that and we should go. And anyway, in that place, they are only singing all God's bhajans. There is nothing like only Sai Baba or anything like that. So it is a good time we'll be spending. We are just hearing to God's name and it's beautiful. So you should come. So my mother also, so the next time onwards, my mother also started coming. Of course, she wasn't completely into it, but then she quite liked it because anyway, bhajans are always beautiful. All of us know Swami's bhajans. And I, as a little child, I was just very happy, jumping and running around, doing dances and all that when they were having bhajans. So that's how it was, and the connects, I mean, that way started. My father got into it completely, started trying to, by the time after many Thursdays and all that, he came to know how, where Swami is and Puttaparthi and all these things. So my father wanted to go and have darshan. So now the planning started of how we would go and how to, because those days, no access only to Puttaparthi. Roads were only not there. These were all kacha roads at that time. So managed to find out that you have to reach Dharmavaram, and from Dharmavaram you can get buses and whatever. So they planned in such a way that they would go to Chennai, spend some time with my, because it's a holiday, they have to take and come, my dad. So they decided that okay, we'll spend some time in Chennai with mother, and then from there we will go to Dharmavaram and move. Okay, all that was done. We came to Dharmavaram. Dharmavaram, we are in the train when I started having fever. I was a little girl, so fever started, whatever. Then finally they got down at Dharmavaram. There were some bus that was going, so they said this will take you somewhere near Puttaparthi at one place called Kotta Cheruvu. That time all this was very new. Never heard of these places. So my father said, okay, we'll find out how to move from there. So this bus came and dropped them at Kottacheru. Kottacheru, when they got down, my father says, nothing. One place, yes, that fellow said, this is the bus stop, you get down. So my parents have got down with me having fever. My mother was sitting on the suitcase with me on the lap. And my father says there was just one small shop, the typical chai shop that is there. And with a shelter only for that fellow who is standing to give that's all. The rest, it's all open. Nothing is there. So now they are trying to find out how to go. Language, no Telugu, nothing. So something and all, my father was trying to ask that shopkeeper. So in whatever little bit of sign language and other things that they managed to communicate, father came to know that there is a bus that will come, but don't know when it will come. There is no fixed time for all these things. Sometime one bus will come which goes to Puttaparthi, but rare. Or you can, if at all there is some bullock cart or something that is going, you could probably go in that, something like that. Anyway, you have to wait. There is no other choice. Sitting there. By which time the clouds started gathering, and it became pitch dark. Any moment it will rain, and we are just under the sky. My mother, she says that was the first time she prayed to Bhagavan from her heart, because for her, saving me was the most important thing. And she was sure that if this rain falls on this girl with so much of fever, the child is finished. So she is saying that's the first time she told Swami in her heart. She said, I don't know who you are. People say you are God or whatever you are. If you are God, you have to save us right now. Find some way by which we are saved from this rain. Something you do. Because this child I cannot lose. And the family behind, she's saying nobody is, they will all, this thing where you have gone, you have killed a child, all this they will say, and I don't know how to handle this. So please somehow, and she's saying tears came from her eyes when she prayed like this to Bhagavan. Just at that moment, a black ambassador car comes. Empty car with just the driver, nobody else. So my father frantically tried to stop. And he told him, he said, see, this is the thing, we are planning to go there, but there's nothing here, and it's going to rain, and this child is having very high fever. So if you can just take us to some place nearby, if you know, some hotel or something, where I can at least save from this rain, then later on I'll find my way and go. So my father says he gave a very beautiful smile. And then he said, no, sir, I'm going to Puttaparthi only. My Yajaman is waiting for me at Puttaparthi. I'm going to pick him up. So you come, I will take you to Puttaparthi itself. So that was the greatest thing. So immediately all the saman, everything in the dicky they put. Their parents got inside, me at the back seat lying down with my mother, father sat in the front, went to Puttaparthi. Now this was Dashara time. My father says nothing is there in Puttaparthi at that time. Just open area, nothing at all. Some tents were there here and there. And how to find a place, we don't know. But anyway, we reached there, and my father says the crowd was so much that they say, no, that even if you drop one pin, there is no space for it. Like that crowd, people all over, everywhere you can only see people. Anyway, my father thought, I have to get down only now. This man has brought us till here. Now I'll have to. He just opening the car door to get down. One little boy comes running to him and he says, you want a tent, sir? One tent abhi khali ho raha hai. It's just getting empty. You want a tent? My father said, yes, yes, yes. He took us immediately to one tent. My mother just lifted me. My father took all the luggage and all. We went into that tent, sat down. And then my father, gave this boy some money because he was obviously expecting something. So he just gave him. And then it struck my father, I didn't give anything to that driver. I should have at least paid him something. No, he helped us so much. So my father said, okay, I'll just go out and look for this driver and give. And we all know Puttaparthi is a very small, there's no way anybody can just miss anything there. My father came out, he says he searched all over the place. There was no black ambassador. Nobody seemed to have seen a black ambassador. He just wasn't there. And when my father entered this tent, it rained. Until then, there was no rain. My father, whenever he would relate this incident, he would say, Swami's Apastamba Sutra. Apastamba Sutra is another thing, but Apa in Sanskrit is water, Stamba is stop. So my father says he stopped the rain for us until we had got inside. And he ensured that we were safe. I was safe. Then after that, for some, of course, my mother had medicines like all mothers, we carry all the immediate medicines and all that was there. But somehow that night, the fever just disappeared. What happened, they don't know. After that, I had no fever. We had beautiful darshan and all that. So that is how we first came to Puttaparthi. The first thing itself, the way Swami brought us, was Swami actually brought us. Literally, my father still says that probably because that man seemed, that driver who was there had some curly hair, and also my father says, God knows if it was he only who came. But whatever it is, we came to Puttaparthi, and that's how our journey to Puttaparthi regularly started. Now, after this, then back to Agartala, they were having all these things going on. 1971 Bangladesh war, we were there. The Sai devotees at that time, that's the first time I saw how they do so much of service, because that was a very, very bad time. And the amount of service and the amount of, we all were into it, children included. It was beautiful. Now my father got transferred to Trivandrum, down south. Now we were there in Trivandrum, and my grandmother came to stay with us because we had come down south. She came to stay with us, and she was staying with us. And my mother, she was always the homemaker. She was taking care of everything in the house. So especially with grandmother, those times, these are very old times when grandmothers used to follow certain things, so all that my mother used to take care of. One day, my mother was, she used to keep, I mean, everything had to be spick and span, all that. She was just finishing her washing everything in the back area. And she was just entering the house from the back side when she slipped. She slipped and her leg went and hit on the wall, and probably she just fell back like that. She had some vessel or something in her hand, so all that also she hit and she fainted, whatever. So by the time my grandmother called the neighbor, they came, they brought her inside. Then some doctor and everything were shown. They were only thinking, they thought she just fainted, and that's how she fell. So when all that was immediate things were done and she came to her senses, the first thing she said is, "Oh, my leg." She had hit her leg very badly. So then they tried to see, and her knee was kind of swollen by that time. So immediately then my father, of course, was informed, and then he came and doctor and everything. That time, they immediately called the doctor who was doing some Ayurvedic things for my grandmother. So then he saw and he said, "No, no, you'll have to go to a proper hospital and all. I think something." Now, from there started her problems with her leg. And for various reasons, it's a long story, but I'm just cutting it short. It started getting from bad to worse, her situation, to the extent that she couldn't walk anymore. She was almost bedridden. The leg used to be all kinds of doctors my father had shown. And this had become into a pus formations. Then they used to do something called a scraping. The knee had one big opening, and they would keep on doing scraping, remove the pus. Then again, after some, this was a process. It would go on and on. My father was showing to way, somebody would suggest some doctor, somebody, all this will happen. Finally, they went to some doctor who was supposed to be very, very famous over there. Now, this doctor, and by this time, this is almost 4.5 years that has gone past with all these problems. When this doctor said that he did various tests with her, and then he said that her leg, he said, has become infected so badly, right a little above the knee. From there, the entire leg down is completely infected. So the only way out is to amputate that leg. That's the only solution for this if we have to save her. Otherwise, this will keep spreading up, and it is dangerous for her life and everything. Now, this, you can imagine, was a very big shock for my parents, and didn't know what to do. So my father said, tried to talk it out with her and tried to make her. Obviously, for my mother, it was very, very difficult to accept this, that a leg going away. So she said, but my mother was, see, at that time, when she had prayed to Swami during that trip to Parthi, she had told that if you say this chant, I am completely your dasi after this. That's the word she had used. So she told my father, what you're saying, all that I understand, but I will do this only after consulting with, only after Swami says. So please take me to Swami once. If Swami says this is what has to happen, I will do it immediately. I will cut my leg. I don't have a problem with that, but I will not do anything without asking Swami. Now, my father, in this 4.5, 5 years that was going past, all kinds of leave, he has exhausted. Money is a problem. So he was trying to tell her that there is no leave. How to go to Parthi? We need some days leave. No, I don't have anything. She said, I don't know. You try to find a way out. I will not get this thing done unless Swami tells me that this is what has to be done. So my father was very upset. He didn't know what to do. He was sitting in the office and very upset. So the boss, who was a Christian, Joseph Kariampilli was his name. He was his boss, but otherwise they were friends because they had done training and all that much before together. So he was a good friend and he was a very good human being. So he noticed my father very, very sad and sitting in the office like that. So he just came to the desk. He didn't want to talk in front of the others. So he just told him, he said, Sharmaji, just come to my room. So my father thought, okay, boss, he's calling for some work. So he got up and went. So once my father went into the room, he told this Joseph sir, he told the peon that don't allow anyone to come right now. I have to discuss something with him. And they closed the door. And then he said, Sharmaji, today I called you not as a boss, but as a friend. What happened? You seem to be very, very upset. You're not like this normally. So what exactly has happened and why are you so sad and what's happened? When my father explained the whole situation, he said, this is what it is. This is what the doctors have said. But she is adamant. She says that unless we go to Parthi and, ask Swami and he says it, she will not get all this. How? And sir, I've already exhausted all the leave and all that. How will I manage? There is no way. So I don't know what to do. So he said, it's okay, Sharmaji. This is understandable, no, from her side. She is like, for her, it is a part of her body that is going to go. So he said, it's okay. I and my wife, both of us will come and we will explain to Bhabiji because they had another relationship also. So he said, we'll come, we'll try to explain to her, we'll talk to her. She will understand. So that day evening, they both came. They sat for quite some time, explained. Then this particular Joseph sir had this finger he had lost in some accident or something. So he said, see, Mrs. Sharma, I also have these things. These things happen in life. So you have to understand this, that, all kinds of things. My mother listened to everything and then she said, I understand everything that you're telling me. I have only one question to ask you. He said, yes, you ask. She said, Bhai Sahab, I know you are a devout Christian. You go every Sunday to the church and everything. I am only asking you, if Jesus was here in flesh and blood and there was some such thing to be done, would you ask him or you won't ask him? This is all I want to know. He had no answer. So he said, yes, I would go and ask him. She said, that's all I am also saying. I'm not saying I will not do the surgery or anything. I only want to ask him. For me, he is God. God is there in flesh and blood here. I just want to ask him. If he says you have to do this, I will immediately do. I don't have a problem. But I will not do without asking. So no answer that these people had. So finally he said, Sharmaji, I know you don't have leave and all that. But since I am the boss over here, I have some, in my capacity, I can, allow a little bit of maybe just about a week or something in which you have to go and come back. Only 1 week that I can give. You go, whatever you have to ask, you ask, but don't stay there for too many days. If at all he says that yes, operation, whatever operation has to be done means you come back here. Here somehow we will adjust. You can come for some time in the office, go, all those things we can do. And there are people here to help and all that. I will also be, I mean, wife is also there and all, so nothing. But you go and come back in 1 week's time. Okay, my father took the, and that time my aunt had come, my mother's elder sister, she had come to stay with us because some help was needed. By that time, the situation at that time, now this I want to tell because the situation at that time was with her knee, excruciating pain. With all the painkillers, she will still have pain. And they would put a huge, because lot of cotton and everything, and then they have to do those bandagings. It'll all, within 2 hours time, that is 1.5 2 hours time, this whole thing will be wet, the pus will be oozing out, so again the bandage has to change. I mean, this is the kind of situation at that time in which we have to take her, travel. So anyway, my father, auntie was also there, somehow we managed all these things, everything was taken, boarded the train, and we are on our way to Puttaparthi. Now the train was coming in such a way that it would come via Bangalore. So it was like Whitefield you will cross and then you will come to Dharmavaram and all that. That's how that train somehow was. So early morning Whitefield will come. This train will reach Dharmavaram somewhere by afternoon or something. The early morning Whitefield, and my father, he was always he would always, I mean, even before, he would kind of, he was always an early riser. He would be up and awake by 4 o'clock. He will all be ready in the morning. So he would do his prayers, all that stuff. So he was trying to look for some chai or coffee or something early morning because he was up and awake. So there was one boy who was coming with that small this thing with chai and everything. He was calling out chai, coffee. So my father stopped him and took a tea. And then he said that, Whitefield comes, the next station probably is Whitefield that is going to come. Satya Sai Baba's that ashram, which side will it come in the train? He said, we are Sai devotees and I just want to pray, I mean, do a namaskaram. So which side of the thing will it come? So that boy said, where are you going now? He said. So he said, I'm going to Puttaparthi only, but here I just want. He said, why you are going to Puttaparthi? Swami is here in Whitefield. You get down here. So my father said, Swami is here in Puttaparthi. No. Swami is not in Puttaparthi. Yeah. Swami is here in Whitefield. For me daily thing, no, in this train. Just now also I'm coming from Puttaparthi only. Early morning I came this side in the night. Now I'm going back. Again after some time I'll come in. This is my job. I keep coming in this. He's here only. You don't go anywhere. You immediately get down here. And my father says 15-20 minutes for Whitefield to come. So he said, I'm telling you, yeah, he's here only. You get down. Don't just believe me, he's here only. You just get down. So my father said, okay, woke up everybody, fatafat, everything, that bedding, everything we did. Somehow brought her to the door. And my father would literally lift her because that was the only way to, move her. Came onto the station. Got down at Whitefield. Whitefield, we got down, and now those of you who know the Whitefield station, from the Whitefield station, you can actually see the ashram. It is only, you can just go around, but you have to go round like that. How to take her? He cannot walk only. So my father was trying to see how, if we can, something will be available. This is early morning. So whether some auto or something is available by which we can take her. So he was just going up and down trying to look for various things, and suddenly again somebody is coming in the car, but you could make out he was a Sai devotee because he was in that white and white. So probably some staff. So my father stopped the car and he said, "We are is Swami is here?" He said, "Yes, yes, Swami is here only." So he said, "I like this. My wife cannot walk only, so we have just come for darshan. So can you just drop us at that gate?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, sure, come. I'm going there only." So we got that gadi, we sat in that. He went and dropped us at the gate. By which time it was time more early morning. Swami will come, darshan time and all that. So my father said, "First let us take Swami's darshan, then I will start looking for some place to stay and all that. Right now, let us just leave the luggage at the gate." So we left the luggage at the gate, ladies' side. And again, those days, Whitefield, nothing. It's not today's Whitefield. Only that center, that thing is there, one tree and, that small shed kind of a thing that is there. The rest, everything is open. Nothing is there. Ladies on one side. So somehow my mother, my aunt and myself, we both held her and slowly we took her over there. My father was sitting in the gents side. We thought at least let us take Swami's darshan, then we'll see what is to be done. So we went and sat there. Swami came. By which time Swami started. The music and all started. Swami came for darshan. He came to our side, ladies' side, and came very near to us and smiled at my mother. So my mother, she was so happy. So she said, "Swami, in Kale, we are Tamilians, so obviously Tamil was my leg," she said. So he said, "Prasadam istanu." He just smiled, he blessed her like that, and he said, "Prasadam istanu." And he went off. "Prasadam I will give," he said, and he went off. Everything over, darshan and all over, bhajan, all that is over. Swami is gone. Then we came, then my father went looking for a place where to stay. So we went over there, went to the room, and by that time again her pus and everything has started off. So when managed to go to the room, got some hot water, cleaned all that stuff. Evening again darshan. We have come. That time evening darshan used to be right from Swami's, from where he will come, from that place. Gents on one side, the college is there in the middle, Brindavan College and all. Ladies on one side, gents on one side. Swami will come in between like that. Sometimes he's on the gents side, sometimes all this, he will keep moving. That's how people will sit for darshan at that time. So evening darshan is like this. So Swami started. So it so happened the way we got a place, my aunt, my mother, myself, three of us are sitting here, and diagonally that side, my father is sitting, which means ahead of us. And diagonally that side, my father has got a place, so he is sitting there, we are sitting here. Swami started coming, and somehow Swami was coming on the ladies' side. My mother was very happy. Swami is coming ladies' side, so we will something. 10 ladies. Swami is okay. In between, I have to tell you something. My father is a great orator. He gives lectures. He is a great Sanskrit scholar also. So he would give lectures and all these things. So he's a great orator. Now my father was sitting there and thinking in his mind that today I will tell Swami everything. The moment he comes, so all this speech or something that he's preparing in his head, what all to do, because he is also going through a lot of difficulty. So he wanted to tell all this. So this I will tell them. He's just preparing everything in his head as to what to tell Swami when he comes. Swami is coming ladies' side, ladies' side. 10 ladies before my mother, he went off to the gents' side. My mother broke down. Because now he will move on the gents' side. So she has lost the chance of Swami coming near her or anything. So I was trying to just hold her hand. My auntie was also holding her hand, trying to pacify her. It's okay. Because Swami said he will give prasadam istanu, God knows how, what, we don't know. Anyway, Swami just crossed us. He went off and he went and stood right in front of my father as if trying to tell him, start what you want to tell. And my father, he says, that's the day I understood what happened to Sudama when he went to Krishna. Nothing he could speak. And he's a great orator, believe me. His lectures, people would, hall, everything will be filled up and people will be standing outside to listen to him. He says nothing is coming out from his. And Swami is just standing, he's not moving after that. He's just standing in front of my father. Ki, chalo, start whatever your speech that you have to say. And my father could only manage to say, Swami, our kal, her leg, only 2 words that he could tell. Nodtini appa, he's telling my father in Kannada, because we know Kannada, we know a little bit. By then we had already picked up a little bit of Telugu, Tamil, all these languages, Malayalam, all these South Indian languages. So, Nodtini appa, he's telling my father. And from there, he straight cut across and came to my mother, to us, that is me, my mother, and my aunt. My mother was so excited, just didn't know what to do. She was like, because this is something she never expected. He had already crossed us and gone. Came straight to us and standing in front of us. And my mother was like, she didn't know how to react. So, and at that time, I think we forget everything. People are around, what, nothing you understand at that particular moment. It is just you and Swami. That's all you see at that point of time. My mother just wanted to lift her sari or something and show him. I don't know what. She just didn't know how to do it. So she was just doing that. Swami, she was trying. He said, no, no, no. He said, let it be like that. Let it be like that. And right in front of our eyes, he created vibhuti, gave it to my mother. The entire vibhuti he put in her hand. And the rest, as usual, he will just sprinkle on all of us. He did that. Somebody gave him that. And he went. My mother held on to this vibhuti as if this was the only thing that was required. This is the greatest nidhi or dhan or whatever that she had got. She just held on to it like that. Swami went, again everything over, bhajan, everything all done. Swami has gone back. Now my mother, then by that time people start coming, oh, you got prasadam and this and that and everything. So my mother just didn't want to spare anything out of it. She was, for her, it was like, this is what I wanted. She was holding it so tight. Somebody then came nearby and gave her a piece of paper. You put it in that and keep all that. We were so happy. Mother was so very happy. Anyway, from there we came to the room. Again, by this time, again that bandage has to change, because it will be all, everything they have done and they have come, but all this takes time. So immediately we went back to the room. Bandage had to be changed. So everything was removed, and with hot water and everything, they will clean, they will do all those with medicines and everything, all that. My mother now, because she had this in her hand, she just took already this much only will come from Swami's hand. One pinch she took, she put it on that wound in her leg that was there. She put that and tied the bandage. See, now, as I told you, even in the nights, they have to keep getting up. By this time, it was evening, because this evening darshan, everything was done, and she put that, she tied all that. By that time, my father went and got some khana, pina, whatever stuff. All that was done, and everyone was tired. She just put that, tied again, the bandage was all tied, and we decided to hit the bed. And that night, everybody slept. My mother also slept. Father also slept. My father, early morning, as usual, his eyes, he said, oh God, I slept off today. her leg must be in such a bad shape. I didn't even change. Otherwise, in the middle of the night, again they will change once. He said, oh my God, I didn't do that. So he got up and he saw my mother was also fast asleep. Otherwise, she can never sleep only. For the past so many, years now, if we want to put it, she hardly had any sleep because she would always be in constant pain. And my mother is fast asleep. So we thought, okay, she's sleeping, let her sleep. I will not disturb her. When she wakes up, we will do the changing and all that. By the time my father got it, then my mother woke up after some time. My mother also was wondering, Are, I slept up and somehow the pain wasn't there. She was wondering what happened, how I don't have pain only. Anyway, they put on the, then my father said, I didn't wake you up, you were sleeping. So anyway, chalo, let's change the bandage. Otherwise, it'll all get very this thing. So they put on the light. The bandage was dry. Nothing. There was just no pus. Gone. They couldn't believe their eyes. They're like, what is this? How is it possible? How there is no pus? What has happened? Nothing, no pain, no pus. And that it was only one pinch that she has put because the remaining she is keeping in that packet. Then they opened the bandage. They said, okay, let's see what it, nothing is there. No drop of water even in that bandage. So it was something that just couldn't believe. And then my father said, I don't know, whatever Swami has done. He said, and see, he had already reduced the time for us, stopped us from going to Patti. We saved that. So my father said, that boss, poor thing, out of his this thing he has given. Let us immediately, we'll have this morning darshan now. It's a thanks we have to tell to Swami. And we will leave. Because my job is, that man has given this, but we must get back now that this has happened. So then what they thought is, my mother's thing is, Vibhuti is only this much, so little. So she said, let us do one thing, we'll just carry one packet of Vibhuti. So if he blesses, whichever, when he blesses, then in that we will mix this. And then probably I will keep using this till the wound is completely healed and all that. So my father got an idea. He said, see, we don't know who's. So he said, we'll buy 4 packets. Each one of us will carry one, hold the packet. Whosoever Swami blesses, we will mix this in that and we will have some vibhuti. So again, we have come back for darshan with all the 4 pack, all of us with one packet. And believe me, he blesses all the 4 packets. He touches all the 4 packets. My father is sitting in the Gen side, we are sitting here. He is blessing everyone's. All 4 packets we got. That's it. What more did we need? He had saved everything. Swami says, you take 1 step, I will take 100. He did all that. So this one, before that 1 week only, we were all back. Because we only had 1.5 days here. We are back after that. He has done everything for us. We came back. My father joined. Wound was there, in the sense it was open. Nothing was coming out of it, but that cut that they had done, because they used to keep on scraping. So they used to put this bandage because they didn't want any infection or anything to happen. So every day my mother, all she would do is, just because there was no more pain, all that gone. So every day she will just put this little vibhuti and tie the bandage. The 10th day after this, when she opened the bandage, one small white piece just came out. And the thing just closed. That wound that was there, it just closed. This white piece was there in the bandage. The wound had completely closed. Nothing. What was that white thing? No doctors, nobody was able to diagnose or find out what exactly, nothing. One small thing came out in that bandage, dry, and that's it. Her leg was completely saved. She passed away only in uh, 2013. Until then, her leg was perfectly fine. Swami gave that. Now my story proceeds. From there, uh, of course, now by that time I had my schooling and everything was going on. I finished. Those days it was 10, class 10, and then it was from my batch they had started this 10 plus 2 system at that time. So you had a choice of doing it in college or you could start in school that way. So I opted out. And that by that time my parents were already, my mother had already become a Bal Vikas Guru. My father was with the Samiti, I mean, doing all kinds of sevas, everything, services. So then we were completely into it. So my father got a, and this is 77 when I joined Anantapur. So just before that, the summer course, my father had got this observer's pass from the Samiti. So we had come to Whitefield. My father would go away for the summer course. Myself and mother, we used to just spend time in that Vrindavan campus only. Morning, we will come from our room. We will just be around there only. Father will come in the afternoon. We'll have food and all that together. Again, father will go. Then we'll be there. Then evening darshan and everything. Then only we'll go back home. So that's how the thing used to be. And those were days. I'm the only child to my parents. So uh, I won't say I was spoiled, but pampered, yes, definitely. So I used to always be in bell bottom shirt. This is how I'll be most of the time. So we were there. We used to, by then, because we were frequent people in Puttaparthi also, we used to come and go and all that. My father had become quite this thing with Kasturi. I used to call him Kasturi Mama at that time. And his son, Murthy uncle, I had a very beautiful relationship. We have, I mean, he used to, I used to call him Prema Pita. He was Prema, call me Prema Putri. We used to write letters. Very beautiful kind of a thing it was. So we used to know Mama very well. So that is where, for the first time, I saw Anantapur girls. I was fascinated, simply fascinated by the way they would go, in a line, no looking here and there, nothing straight. They will go, they'll come back. Somehow I was so fascinated. I wanted to join Anantapur. So I started and I came because we used to be roaming around there. So we came to know that the forms are being given for admission at that time. I started pestering my mother that I want to join this Anantapur College. My mother was like, obviously, because I was the only child, so she was like not very sure whether she should send me away. So she said, we'll see, wait, we'll see. That Appa, we'll find, we'll see. She kept on trying to, put it aside. So every day, Papa would go and then and I would say, Amma, please buy the form for me. Please buy the form for me. I want to join Anantapur. Please do the form for me. And she would like say, okay, we'll see. That particular day, again, I was pestering like this, and Kasturi Mama and Murthy uncle, both of them are coming from there. So he saw my mother, Sai Ram. My mother immediately touched his feet. She said, Sai Ram. So he said, oh, I pray, how are you? In Tamil only he would talk to us. How are you? Everything. So he's gone to the observers. Okay. So then he was asking, how is she? What are you doing? All that he was just asking. So my mother just casually told him, see, Mama, she's going on pestering. She wants to join Anantapur. So she's pestering me. So right now she's just doing that only. He just looked up. I'm in bell bottoms. He just gave one look like that from top to bottom. He looked at me like that. Anantapurla idella nadakadu. All this is not okay for Anantapur. He said, and he went off. And he just smiled. Everybody smiled. My mother also smiled. He went. He came back to the room that day, and I said to my mother, next day I will go in the morning for darshan. If you put a sari for me. My mother said, are you stupid? How can I take? There is no blouse, nothing for you. How can I put sari for you? How is it possible? I don't know anything. You just put sari. I have to go for darshan only when I wear a sari. I will go in front of Swami with sari only. I want to go. You just put sari for me. So one big argument. And then finally my father said, just tie something no for her. It's okay. She wants to go in a sari. So what you do? Next day, I came in a sari for darshan in the morning. He was sitting there. Again, as usual, after the thing, my father has gone. We are there. And again, as usual, I was telling her, that day again, Kasturi Mama and Mutya. He was so happy to see me. He looked at me and said, ah, very good, he said like that. Kasturi uncle. So I said, Mama, now I can join Anantapur. So he told my mother, now I think she deserves to get an application. Rest, so let Swami decide. But she at least deserves to get an application now. You must buy it for her. He said, and he went off. So when my father came and for the lunch, that is, my mother said like this. Then he said, okay, we'll just buy, we'll see. Whether she'll get or not, that only we don't know. At least we'll buy an application for her. Her thing is satisfied. So the application was bought it. That day I sat and went through the whole thing. Whatever had to be filled up, I filled up those things. Next day, in the morning, for darshan. Now this I didn't tell anybody. I wrote whatever that I could fill up, I had filled up. The other things, obviously, I had to go back and get all the certificate and all those things. But I filled up all those things, the regular things, that is name and all the details. I folded the thing in such a way, in that application, the last line will be, this application is accepted. There will be a / rejected. And all of us know it's a printed thing, so it's very small. But my childish head at that time, I folded it in such a way, and I told Swami, if you touch this accepted portion, that means I'm coming to Anantapur. If you touch the rejected portion, okay, you will not. I mean, imagine how stupid can it be if today when I think of it, because wherever he touches, it will come in both, because it is so small, one small / printed thing. But for me, that is what it was with Swami. And I'm sitting. And I was sitting on my knees when he came for the darshan, with this in my hand. I'm not even looking at Swami, because my entire concentration is where he is going to touch this. He has come for darshan and he has come near me. I'm on my knees, I am like this. And my entire thing is I'm looking into this application, not even looking at Swami. No, Pad Namaskaram, nothing is going in my head at that time. None of that. And believe me if I said this, he touched just the accepted portion and went away. And for me, it was, that's it, done. My seat in Anantapur is fixed for me, as far as I am concerned, because Swami touched just that. Sometimes I wonder how much, what all we make him do. Rahiman has written, ताहे अहीर की छोकरियां छचिया पर छाछ पे नाच नचावत हैं. He tells Krishna, you are the Brahmand Nayaka, which Swami is. And we make him do such stupidest things, and he will do it. The gopis used to make him, bhai tum nacho, we will give you some curd. You do this, I'll give you some butter. This is how they were. This is what we did. We didn't even realize who he is. And he does it. That is our Swami. Every small little thing he will do. And I was finished. For me, anyway. And all this I didn't tell. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anything, anybody. This was just between me and Swami. Came back. I sent all the things. And those days all postal only. So sent. And my parents were like, okay, start looking for other colleges. We'll apply everywhere. I said, no, where I'm applying? I'm going to Anantapur only. They say, are you stupid? What kind of a girl are you? What are you trying to say? And I said, no, it's all done for me. I am going to, Swami has already this thing for me, so I'm good. Anyway, I was very adamant about it. Lot of hurdles that came by, but we managed to come to Anantapur. I got a seat. I came actually for science at that time because I was very interested in biology. But there were no seats because there was some delay with my result and everything that was to come, and delay from here, whatever they had sent, postal delays and all that used to happen those days. So Hemlata ma'am, I still remember, she told me, she said, child, science is all full. You can take commerce. That was a new thing at that time. I had no idea what commerce or anything. There was a beautiful photo behind where ma'am was sitting, her chair, and just behind that. I just looked at Swami like that. I felt as if Swami said, go ahead. So I just told her, okay. And I took commerce knowing nothing. But after I finished my 2 years of pre-degree, that's how it used to be called at that time, the 11th and 12th. Once I finished that, and I asked Swami what should, and I topped actually in the commerce thing. But when I went and asked Swami, he said, I said, Swami, this is over. I have to do my degree. So what should I do? Everything we will ask Swami only at that time. Every small little thing we will ask Swami. So he just told me, నువ్వు ఫిలాసఫీ నువ్వు ఇంగ్లీష్ అని ఫిలాసఫీ తీసుకొని BA చేయి. These were exactly his words. I went to BA. After having topped in commerce, this thing, I went for BA. But that's what Swami, because Swami knew I was to become an English teacher probably. So he first thing he told me is English. English and philosophy తీసుకొని చేయి. So anyway, that was done. Now, while I was in Anantapur, this is in 1980. I was already in the first year. My parents were still in Trivandrum. My father had a major heart attack. I didn't know anything about it. These people had, again, this was Dashara time. So we have this thing of going to each other's house for Haldi Kunkum that normally people call you for. They had done all that and come back, and he was just breaking the coconut for, yes, 10 minutes. Okay, I'll just wind up after this. So he was just doing that, and he had the shooting pain in the left side. So first he thought it is just something, maybe he cut or something, but then he realized no, this was some other, because he started sweating and all. He understood there's something else wrong. So they called the neighbor and all that. He was rushed to the hospital. It was a Chinmaya Mission Hospital, which was near to my parents' house at that time. So that's the hospital. They rushed him. They took him inside, and then they realized it's a major heart attack. So he was inside. My mother by that time tried to send message. Those days, remember, no phones, nothing, no mobile, nothing of these things. So somehow she sent word through this neighbor boy only of some of the side devotees over there. So she sent word to them, so that just tell them that Sharma ji has been admitted in the hospital. He has a heart attack. So they all immediately came. Quite a few they were there, and as they were trying to do various kinds of treatments to him, but it was apparently a very major one, and it was not coming under control. And finally, the doctor felt, because now what happened is, I mean, this is something the doctor explained to me later on. The heartbeat was only going like this, up, 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 wasn't coming down. So he kind of, and gradually near the nail, it was all turning blue. So the doctor also realized nothing is going to happen now, cannot save. So he came out, he told these people that we are sorry, I don't think we can save him. Whoever are the relatives and all, you can inform. The story is all kind of over. My mother, so everywhere, obviously it was a shock, and then the neighbors, they were trying to find out. Main this thing for them was to contact me, because I was in Anantapur at that time. So they were trying to ask my mother, uh, you know, give us Ranjini's. My mother says it was, she just couldn't think of anything at that time. She gave the keys to one of those aunties who was there. He said, you know our house. As soon as you enter, there is one uh, table on which there is a brown diary. All that dress and phone, everything is there. He keeps everything like that. It's all there. You do what you want to do. Just leave me. And then my mother says she just held to her Mangal Sutra. And she told Swami, she says, I don't know what you will do. I need this man. My daughter is still studying with you. Nothing has happened for her. No, her marriage. There's so many things that have to happen in life. And my mother was always a home person. He didn't know much about outside. He said, I cannot manage anything alone, and you definitely know this. So you have to give this man back to me for whichever way. You do whatever you want. If you need another life, you take me, because without me, it's okay. Everything will be managed. Without him, nothing can happen. I need him back. And suddenly, the heartbeat just started like this. It's just coming back up and down like it normally goes. So the nurses, everybody immediately, so the doctor came and they did all kinds of things. He was back. He was back, but by which time these people had already called Anantapur, given this message that I think it's almost over, but don't tell Ranjini all this. Just send her, saying that there is an accident or something, and send her. But so that's how I was sent. I came. I didn't know about all these things until I reached here. By which time, again, trains only those days. So by the time I reached, he was kind of moved to a ward from this thing. But it was the heart kind of that thing only. So he had all these things attached to him. So me and my mother, we were we were sleeping in that room only. We had one single room for him. So we were there, and just at the day that I reached, the next day, early morning, again, my father is all attached with all kinds of tubes and everything, and his thing is just slightly raised like this, his head, and he's lying down. Nothing he can do. It's all, everything is tied up. And then he suddenly he just screamed, Swami, Swami, Swami. So me and my mother immediately got up and came and said, what happened? So he's saying, I saw Swami just now. I mean, he says that it was not a dream, it was more of a vision, because he was awake, because he gets up very early in the morning and all that. This was very early in the morning. He says he saw Swami at the door. So my father is trying to get up. But obviously, all these things are there and he's not able to get up. And then he says, like we have seen in movies and all that, Swami just came up in the Hawa. in the air. And he's coming like this. My father is like this. So he's coming. So my father is able to touch his feet. So he's just trying to, with his hands, he's just trying to touch that feet. Then Swami just goes back and then he tells him, don't worry. I've given you another lease of life. I'm taking care of everything for you. Everything will be fine. Don't worry. And Swami was just going away. When he was going away, my father is screaming like this, Swami, Swami. So he gave another lease of life to my father. This was 1980. And my father finally moved over in 2008. That's the lease that he got. What more can I tell? Because there are many things after that. Anyway, I got married into a non-Sai devotee family. That was a challenge by itself, but Swami paved the way for me again. My daughter got completely into Swami's. She's the only child that I have. She got into Swami's thing completely. She's a great devotee also of Swami. I have a grandson now, so that's what I'm doing right now, taking care. This is the role that Swami has given me right now. But he has taken care of my life completely, completely. Even today, each and everything is done by him. And can never thank him enough. Can never, ever thank him enough. I keep telling that if I get one whole birth where there is nothing to be done, suppose no worldly duties at all, and all you have to do is just sit and say thank you to him, I think that also is less. Because that is the kind of Karuna avatar that this Swami is. As my father used to say, Bhagwan has taken many avatars, but this Sai avatar is the most loving, most compassionate, ready to do everything for you. We can never ever thank him enough. That's what I have to tell. I know I'm already going past time, probably, I don't know. So I only want to thank all of, this Pran Sakha series. I want to thank Sai Aruna and her team and everybody for having called me here to speak, because this is an opportunity for me to relive those moments. In Anantapur also many experiences, many things that have happened with me. And all I have to tell you all is, he has taken care of me and he continues to take care of me at every single step of my life. That is how he is taking care of me. And all I can say is thank you, Swami. That's the only thing, because I know that's very less. Nothing more that I can say. We can never ever thank him enough at all. That's the thing. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks a lot for everything. Jai Sai Ram.
Listening to experiences one have with Swami is like drinking Amrutam. We can never really get enough of it. Thank you, Ranjini sister, for those beautiful miracles you shared with all of us. I thank our beloved Swami for everything. I would now like to conclude the session with Shanti Mantra. Om Shanti 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 Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।